Hey guys, Kevin Muldoon here, and I've got the Blu Vivo 6. Now this is my girlfriend's new phone. Got it for her early for Christmas, and there's a lot to love about this phone. So what I'd like to do in this video is just talk about what this has got, talk about my first impressions of it, and just kind of show you about the phone. Now, just to clarify, this isn't a comprehensive review of this phone. This isn't something I've been using for weeks. It's not something I've even been using for days. I've been playing around with it a lot today, but my girlfriend's had this phone for a week. I'm just going to show you what you'll get. So the first thing really to talk about this is really the price. In the UK, this retails at £185. And when you look at the specifications that this phone has got, that is amazing. It really is fantastic. And, for the other phones in the market, I guess the closest you could get is the OnePlus Three. And the OnePlus Three is much more expensive than this. It does have some features that are better than this, but I think if you compare it to, Sony phones, Samsung phones, Apple iPhones, you're really getting a phone that's got like the same or similar specifications, about half the price, or if not a third of the price, depending on, whether you're talking about an iPhone or whatever. Now you can see some of the specifications here on the front. I just put this on the top here just to show you what comes with it. It's got a 5.5-inch IPS display. It has Helio P10 core. Now, I'll just get that's, if you can see here, it is a MediaTek Helio P10 64-bit processor, and the processor is Octa Core at 1.8 GHz 64-bit processor. Now, I haven't checked benchmarks. I haven't looked how this compares to more mainstream CPUs, but that, I'll post a description for those of you who do want to look at this more closely, to see how it performs. I suspect it's maybe not as good as other ones, but at the end of the day, you've got 8 cores, and you do have 4 GB of RAM, 64 GB of storage, Gorilla Glass 3, and in addition to 64 GB of storage, you actually have a microSD card, and that's something that you don't get in the OnePlus 3. It's something that you don't get in the Apple iPhone or many other phones as well. Still comes with a fingerprint sensor, and it comes with Android 6.0. The front, you've got a 13 megapixel camera. On the back, sorry, it's 13 megapixels, and at the front is an 8 megapixel camera. So it's quite impressive, especially when you compare it to some alternatives. Like for example, in the UK, the iPhone SE, the little portable one, that has really good specifications, but the front camera is only 1.2 megapixels, and that's more than double this price. So I think when you put all these things into perspective, you realise you're getting so much for your money. So, you can see the phone here. I'll talk about that for a second. If you think it looks like an iPhone, then you wouldn't be wrong, because effectively they've just copied the design of Apple's iPhone. Right, now this isn't a proper unboxing, but my girlfriend was very kind enough to keep the box. She even kept the slither looking sticker on the back. So she's kept the box just so that I can show this in the video, so we'll just zoom out a little bit. There we go. You can see that I'm recording here. Now if you can see that my microphone here is because my audio recorder has the SD card broken it's stuck, and I need to send it back, so I need to go through the laptop and I need to make sure that everything is recording okay. But I digress. Here we go. It's a nice solid box. Really well presented, and I think that's, I was buying this as a gift, so my girlfriend was really happy, and thankfully she's not one of those Apple sheep. I'm sure that will annoy a lot of people, but that's true. I think a lot of people get Apple, or they don't consider other phones, which is a shame, because the premium you pay for Apple, in my opinion, as nice as the phones are, you're paying a high premium for them. I mean, look at what you can get here for the money. So you paid £185 for this phone, probably around $200 in the US and elsewhere. You get a set of earphones, you get a screen protector, which is on, you get an OTG cable, so you can use this to plug in a flash drive, which, when you consider this has got 64 gigabytes and a microSD card in it, and they've given you a cable to put a flash drive in, that's insane. You also get the charging cable, and as you can see here, if you look, this is a Type-C cable. So this is a Type-C phone, which means it's for the future. And the other thing that comes in the box that you might have noticed before is this. It comes with its own little case. So it's got a little silicone case, a little thing to put on the back. Now, granted, this isn't the best one in the world. You know, these things retail at just a few pounds, a few dollars, whatever. But the fact this is all in the package is pretty good when you consider all that. You know, you've probably got about, considering the cable, the earphones, and you know the cable, you put at least $15–20 worth of accessories. So for the money you're spending, it's quite good. You know, it is quite impressive. And you can see the screen protector on here. It isn't tempered glass. It's just, you know, just a regular screen protector, but it will protect you from scratches. And you do have Gorilla Glass 3 underneath, so it's all good. So let's have a quick look at the phone. And you can see it is pretty freaking sexy. Now, this is rose gold. It's white at the front, rose gold at the back. The other colour you can get is gold. So either way, you're going to be rocking the gold if you get this. If you do get the Vivo 6. So let's move this out the way for a second. So it is a beautiful phone, and when you look at the side, you can see the similarities between this and an iPhone. You've definitely drawn inspiration from it. You can see the camera in the back here. As I said, it's a 30 megapixel sensor, which I believe is a Sony sensor. And forget this, I'll just get the back of the case for a second. If you look here, you will see a lot of the specifications here on the back of the box as well. So you can see it's got a full HD resolution at 401 pixels per inch, Octa Core processor, 4G LTE speed, it works with all UK networks, and I'm sure it works abroad in other networks as well, fine. It's got a 3130 mAh super battery with quick charge. Now I've not tasted the battery yet, as far as how quickly it charges. I tested it once and it was really quick, and then I tested it again and it wasn't as quick. So whether it's, you know, a quick charging battery or not, then the jury is out. As you can see, it's got 7.6 millimeters thin. Now, I only registered my thumb today, but if you can see it works quite well. Just put it over there now. You know, you can register your thumb a few more times if you want it to be more accurate. But what I'll quickly do, get everything here, is test the cable. Now this is the one that comes with it, so hopefully it shows you what it's like. Now earlier on when I did this, I actually recorded this video earlier on, and Audacity, the program I'm using to record my audio, crashed, so that wasn't good. Now I'm getting, sure you can see that there, 0.94 amps. Now we're at, what are we at here? From a charging point of view, I think we're about 50 or 60%. We're not at full charge, so that should, I think that should be charging quicker, but we might see that going up if we leave it in. Now, there's a few things I want to show you in the phone, but quickly what I think we should do is do some more tests. As I said earlier, I was getting 1.3 amps. We're now getting about 9.94. So as far as how good the quick charge is, I don't know. One thing I will say though, I mean, just kind of backtrack a little bit. This is available through Amazon, and this is one of the reasons that I think this is a good buy. You know, a lot of people are put off from buying non-branded smartphones. You know, they only want Samsungs and Sonys and, you know, Apple iPhones and things. So when you hear something like Blue, it isn't a very attractive option. But this is sold through Amazon, and they have a pretty good, if I'll show this here, I'll show you. They've got their own app, and you can see here, when you register it, you can actually register, I'll put the brightness down, you maybe see that a little bit better. When you get the phone, they've actually got their own app that manages all the warranty. So it's pretty good, you know, and there's options here. You can report an issue, service centres and all that. This is quite a good company, you know, they've got everything set up really well, and they tell you how long you've got on your warranty left, all this. It's a lot of little touches in this phone that's actually quite good. But as I was saying, this is only available from Amazon, and what a lot of people were saying about this, and I have to agree with this 100%, there's nothing really to worry about. Amazon are really good with returns, and you know, if you have this 6 months and something's wrong with the button or the battery, then you can send it back, you know what I mean? There's not a problem, Amazon will take it back. I don't foresee any problems. Again, there's a lot of problems that don't arise until you have used them for a while. You know, a lot of problems don't arise with a phone until, you know, a few months down the line you realise the battery isn't good, or, you know, the camera isn't as good as you thought. But I think this is a sexy little phone, and it's really, really cheap, and it's a really good size. I love how the power buttons here, you've got the volume buttons. It's basically the same as my Google Nexus 6P I've got sitting over here, but it's reversed. In my Google Nexus, I've got this volume here and the power there. And this is, you know, the power sits here. So even though it's a big screen, you know, you've got the power button on the right hand side. And what you might notice as well, now my Google Nexus is, you can see it sitting here. This is, you can see it's quite late here, but it's a 5.7 inch screen. But on my Nexus, I've got buttons down the bottom here. So the buttons on my actual screen. This one, the buttons don't take up the screen. You've got little vibrating buttons here. Now, the good thing, when this first came, the back button was here and the multitask button was here, which is the opposite of what I'm used to. But you just go into settings and you change it, which I think is pretty good. So before I show you some things on the phone, I'll just quickly do some tests. So, height or length, depending on where you're looking at this, it's about 15 centimeters exactly, just under 6 inches. Width, we have, you can see it here, about 7, let me see, what's that, 7.1 or 2 centimeters. I know you can get official dimensions from the website, but I think it's always good to kind of check this yourself. And width, talking about half a centimetre there, which is, what's that, about a quarter of an inch. Now, as far as the feel of it though, this was something, you know, size was something that my girlfriend was concerned about. She was coming from the Sony Compact Z3, or Z3 Compact, sorry, and she's been really happy with it. And, you know, after a while, I think she's used to a larger phone already. On to the scales. So, what are we on here? Grams. We have 172 grams, which is 6.1 ounces. And if we compare it to my Google Nexus 6P, that is 200, is that right? Yeah, 234 grams, which is 8.3 ounces. So this is a lot heavier. You know, and there's things like that, you know, as I'm saying, this is quite a light and quite a sexy device, and things like that they don't really come through sometimes when you're doing a video review, but it is significantly lighter, as you can see. So I've got a really bad copyright-free music video from YouTube, and I know it's annoying playing these crappy songs, but I swear to God, in one of my reviews of a Bluetooth speaker, I played a Chili Pepper song for about 5-10 seconds, and YouTube flagged it, they claimed it, and now I get no profit from that video. So it really is a pain in the ass, but there's no point actually giving these people an inch. You need to play this copyright-free music. So I'm going to play it, and we're going to see how it goes. Just to clarify there, this goes between high and low, and I was looking at the low there. So if I put it to high, we're getting around 90 decibels. Now, I'm not someone who works in decibels a lot, and I don't claim to be, but what I will say is that the other day I was testing a little Bluetooth speaker, and you know, it's one of those ones that's about £12-15 to buy. Little USB speaker that's, you know, you get 6-8 hours of battery life, and that was giving about 90 decibels on the sound meter. So by the looks of it, this is as loud as a little portable Bluetooth speaker. But I'm not saying that the speakers sound amazing, they don't. At the end of the day, this is a smartphone. But volume, I think it's okay. It's not a big problem. It's very loud actually. It's loud enough that I don't want to wake up my neighbours, so I need to turn that down. So, I've still got this on the back, I'll leave that now until she takes it off. So, I'll just show you some of the, you know, the basic controls, the basic system of how this works. it is kind of Android. There are a couple of apps that don't seem to be able to get removed. Doesn't seem like it's excessive though, so I wouldn't worry about bloatware. What I'll notice is, you know, in my phone on the Google Nexus, you pull down, you know, to get notifications, and you pull down again to get all your settings. This one's different. It pulls down for notifications, and you push up, you know, you pull up to get your settings and all. Sorry, I'm not in a shot there. So pull down for notifications, pull up for your settings and all this. Now, for me, that is annoying as hell because I keep trying to pull down to get to my settings area. But when you think about it, that actually makes a hell of a lot of sense. For my other phone, I need to pull down and then pull down again. It's 2 swipes. When this one, it's always 1 swipe depending on where you're going. So it makes a lot more sense. And once you get used to that, I think it's much better. Now you can see here the settings area. If you get into advanced settings, you will see the storage. 64 gigabytes comes inside it. And it's a 32 gigabyte card that's inside. Now I think they say that I'll need to double check that, but I think they say the maximum is 64. But in the past, when I've seen, you know, companies say that, you've been able to get 128. But if I take this out now, I just want to show you the tray. I'll be careful a little bit because it is a little bit fidgety. So I won't take it all the way out because it's an absolute pain in the ass to get back in. Well, first time it was easy, second time it was a pain. Right, so what I've got here, we've essentially got 2 micro SIM card slots. The first one, we've got the actual SIM card for the phone, for the network, and the second one, we've got a MicroSD card. Now, we've actually got a nano SIM, so what we've used is one of the kind of little holders that you have. So you need a nano SIM holder to put in your micro SIM card. A nano SIM holder for a micro SD card size, if that makes sense. But if you do have a nano SIM, just be aware of that when you buy this. It's actually 2 micro SIM card slots, so you'll need to buy one of these little holders. It's not a big thing, but it doesn't seem to be in the box, so I haven't seen it. Now this is the good thing, it comes with 2 micro SD card slots. So basically you've got one of 2 options. You can put an SD card in to expand storage and use it with your SIM card, or you can, if you want, say you're abroad, you know, you want to get cheaper local rates, or you know, you're someone that does a lot of business calls, you can put in 2 SIM cards there. Now that's quite a good option as well, because if you've got 64 gigabytes of storage there anyway, so I think that's a good option too. But for me, this isn't my phone, but if it was, I would always keep an SD card in. But when I went abroad, you know, I would take this with me, I would take the SD card out, and then I would put in the other SIM card. So that means that I've still got my phone, I'll get cheaper rates, and I'm all good to go. But when you look around the phone, you can see how similar this is to an iPhone, how sexy it is. Little vibrating buttons here, you hold it down, you've got the fingerprint sensor, and it opens. So we're back here in the settings area. I'll go back. Just want to show you the memory, 4 gigabytes, but you can see, I'm hoping that's coming across there. It's always hard to show on the screen. So that's about 3.7 gigabytes total memory, and we've got 1.4 free at the moment. When I was using it earlier, I had nearly 1.9 gigabytes free, so it does depend on what apps you've got open and all that kind of thing. You know, if you had to reset the phone, you'd have a lot more memory free. Now, the other thing to show you is the apps. Now, I think the screen looks beautiful. I think it's really, really good. I'm not sure about battery life yet, you know, but I'd like to think with 3,130 milliamp battery is going to be okay, but these kind of things, time will tell. Again, it is a first impressions video. But one thing to note is that there isn't an app drawer. You know, all the apps seem to just, you know, be put on the front. But this isn't a big thing because Android has lots of launchers. Now this isn't what you get with Google. This is actually the Nova launcher that I'm using with my Google Nexus 6P. And if I was using this phone, that's what I would do. I'd put on a launcher. And it gives you a lot more options with widgets and backgrounds and, you know, manipulating how many icons are shown. And that's the route I would go down. But, you know, if you're not too bothered about that, you can just put everything into folders and organise it that way and just use this as your main app drawer. Other thing to note, and get here, I would say that the most important thing now would be the camera, because I've not tested this for games, I've not tested this for, you know, benchmarks or anything like that. I've not had a chance to do that, and for me personally, that isn't a huge thing. Is that I would, that's important to me anyway. Even a mid-range phone would be okay for me, but I do appreciate for those of you will be looking for that. But I think with an 8-core processor, an Octa Core processor, it should be okay. One of the most important things I think for many people would be the camera. Now, first impressions are, it seems like a good camera, seems good, but I don't think it's a flagship camera. I don't think it's going to match an iPhone or a Samsung Edge, that kind of thing, like S7. That's just my first impressions. Now, I did have a look, and from a video perspective, I looked on Open Camera, and I did notice that when you went to the settings area and you went to video settings, you went to video resolution, there is an option here for 4K. But when I recorded the video on 4K, it actually came up, when I checked the video, it said 640 pixels in width. It doesn't seem like that's actually the case and you do get 4K. But the default camera app's really good. I quite like it. It's if I change the video mode, I've got video mode here, and you can see when you push settings, it comes up all these different boxes. If you can see that, can you see that? No. All right. That's because of the white. It's because of the sheet's white. If I put it down like that, you may be able to see it better. I'll zoom in a little bit. Here we go. Now in the party. So we've got a lot of different things here. Video quality, volume keys, what they do, white balance. There's a lot of cool little options here. You've got the microphone options as well, whether it's the microphone's being used, storage location. The video quality is coming up fine. So it's got 1080p, 720p, 480p, and then low, which is pointless P, if you will. If you push here, you've got lots of kind of presets. You've got panorama, slow motion. I've just picked panorama. Slow motion, macro, night, time lapse, text recognition, HDR, professional, smart scene, ultra pixel, pic note, mood photo, GIF. And for the life of me, I can't get all this to show you properly on the camera because it's late and my lights are just flashing on everything. So I apologise about that. Now, what I want to show you, just quickly, I've got, in fact, I'll put this back on because this isn't my phone, and sod's law, I'm the stupid kind of idiot that would drop the phone or something, and if it was my phone it'd be okay, but if it was someone else's, I'd drop it and then I'm just end up sending it back. Right, so we've got the app here. Here's a little plant, and you can see through the camera, or can you see? No, you can't, because so it's not showing up well on the screen just because of the light and things like that. Maybe turning the light off, does that help? Actually helps a little bit. Right, so you can see here, there's the camera. So what I'll do is, now obviously I'd love to take a photo for you guys all in the daytime, things like that, but that's just a quick photo I've taken there. We took some other photos tonight. We were at a party tonight. It was a friend's 30th, and that was us tonight, and it seems okay, seems good. As I said, I don't get the impression this is a top of the range camera or anything like that, but it does seem well. It does seem okay. There's enough demand for it. I'll try and get this phone again, in a day, in a couple of weeks, and what I'll try and do is go out one day and I'll take lots of photos and take lots of video. What I'm going to do right now, right this second, is do a quick video with the front of the camera and a quick video with the back of the camera. Now, the front of the camera is 720p and the back is 1080p. I don't think the frame rates are the same as what my camera's recording, which is 50p, so 50 frames per second. So I might have to change that to get this displaying okay on this video. But what I'm going to do just now, we'll record a quick selfie video on the front camera and the back camera, and it'll just hopefully give you an idea of what you can get. In this situation, I think it's really about showing you how good the microphone is. So for vloggers or for people taking video, hopefully that will give you a little bit of insight into what it's like. Right guys, so now you can see what's happening behind the camera, behind the scenes. This is where the magic happens. And look at the state of this office. What an absolute tip. You can see I've been running around crazy today. Some of this stuff has been thrown out, some of it's gone up in the loft, and I need to clear this out because it's an absolute disgrace. But that is what's happening. And those books, instead of buying a shelf for a stand for my Mac, I just put some books down as a temporary solution, and now they've been there for months. So what happens, my selfie camera. Now I'm just talking gibberish just now, but really what I wanted to show you is the front camera. I'm not showing you this in the daylight. I'm showing you this at night. It's midnight, I'm in my room, and if I turn this around briefly, get my hand there. So this is me talking. I've got the front camera, so this is 1080p, it's recording it. And I think the most important thing here, well, video is important, but I think the microphone is a big thing. If you're a vlogger, if you want to record videos, the microphone's important. But, you know, I'll let you guys be the judge as to what the quality is like. For me, it actually seems quite good. I'm not sure how the footage will be for you as far as it's shaky. You know, I'm using my hand here, I'm moving around. You know, I'm not sure if it's stabilizing or not. What I'm going to do is just now is I'm going to skip to the selfie mode. I'm going to skip to the selfie mode, and this will be in 720p. So let's do that. Right guys, so I'm now recording from the front camera. So this is the 8 megapixel camera. The previous camera was 13 megapixels, and it was the 13 megapixel Sony IMX258, and apparently it has with PDAF and Laser Autofocus. The front camera is 8 megapixels, so that's what you're viewing just now. Now the back camera that I was recording with before is 1080p. Again, I'll need to check the frame rates, but normally with cameras on phones it's normally 30 frames per second. They might be different, I'll need to check the file. But this one it's only 720p. But for a front camera, an 8 megapixel camera on the front, that's pretty good. And again, I think, you know, when you're looking at this, when you're looking at me wandering around, I think one of the most important things is to, one, let's look at the shaking, seeing how bad that is, because, you know, when you're walking around, you'll be friends and you'll be jumping around like this kind of thing. And the other thing is the microphone. Now, I'm in a very quiet environment. My girlfriend's in bed, my neighbours are pensioners. It's very quiet, even though, you know, it's very late at night. It's, you know, it's like 12, half 12 at night or something like that. So it's very quiet, and you know, there's no background noise or things like that. You know, realistically, people will be using this camera when they're at parties, they're at concerts, they're at things like that. So I think just take that into consideration. But I think it is good to you look at it raw like this, you know, in a quiet environment, just to test what it's like. And if you're a YouTuber, you'd maybe like to use the 720p camera. Though ideally, what you'd want to do is, if you can see here, get a little tripod and put it up there, and then you could use that to put your camera on, and you can record in 1080p. Now, as I said, I looked at the open camera and it did look like it could do 4K, but it doesn't. I don't think that is actually the case. For me, that isn't an issue. I was really pleased about my Google Nexus 6P having 4K capability, but the reality is that I never actually use it for that because, well, for one, my camera's recording 50p, you know, 50 frames per second, and secondly, because when you're recording 4K files, everything's 4 times, you know, the file sizes are 4 times the size. So for me, I still feel that 1080p is a standard, and until 4K is improved in smartphones, I don't think that is going to be the case. Now I'll just quickly turn on the light, and you can see how lighting can make a difference, you know, to the quality of footage that you're looking at. But actually looks okay from looking at the camera. So I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Blu Vivo 6. I'm going to stop recording, but what I'm going to do is just a final look at the phone, and let's talk about what I think about it, overall thoughts, and I'll tie up this first impressions video. So really in this video I just wanted to give you all an idea of what my first impressions are of this phone, and I think you can tell that I'm really happy with it. You know, when you spend less on a phone, there is a part of you that's worried, that's thinking it can't, you know, it's too good to be true, it can't be this good. I feel like I was wrong. I feel like this is everything that it's selling itself as. You know, it's marketing itself as a top-end phone at a mid-range price, and I think so far it's living up to its reputation. I'm really happy with it. The actual build quality is amazing. This really is iPhone build quality, there's no doubt about it. I mean, look how thin that is. and yet they've packed in a 3000 milliamp battery. It feels amazing, feels great in the hand. I think the buttons are great. I think the fingerprint sensor works great. These little vibrating buttons are great. The speakers seem quite good, you know, quite loud, and I like these responsive buttons. As far as the camera, I don't know, I've not tasted it enough yet. You know, I don't think it is as good as some of the cameras out there. The fact that it can't do 4K does suggest that it isn't a top of the range camera, but it is still a good camera. This isn't 10 years ago. This isn't, you know, a point in time where only the top end phones gave good photos. Even mid-range phones now produce really good photos, and I think the vast majority of people will be happy with the camera in this. I think if you really want the best of the best camera, you're going to have to pay that premium and get something like the Google Pixel, like the Pixel phone, and the top of the range iPhone, or something like the Samsung S7, or perhaps one of, you know, something like the LG G5 or the upcoming G6. But I think for me, I really do grudge paying the premium for phones like that now. I do think that it's hard to justify it. You know, this was £185 in the UK, it's probably about $200 in the USA, and Blu do have lots of different phones on the market. They have they've got quite a lot of phones. They've got one coming out soon actually that's going to be much more powerful than this. It seems to be a similar design, but it's retailing for £300. It's known as a Pure XR, and that thing is an absolute monster of a phone as far as specifications go. Can't even talk. As far as specifications go, so I didn't even drink tonight. As far as specs go, it's easier. As far as specs go, the XR, the more expensive model than this at £300, is a monster. It's, you know, the specifications on that are insane, but there's a lot of ones. There's a Vivo 6, Vivo 5 XR, and all their phones do look really good. And the key selling point of this company seems to be that they're giving you a lot for your money, and I'm really pleased with it because I think it starts right from the beginning. From the second you get this phone, from the box, from all the little extra accessories they give you, like even just a free case and the screen protector. And it does sound like this is like a little bit gimmicky, but you know, the amount of times you open up an expensive phone that costs several £100s and they don't give you earphones, or they don't give you this, or they don't give you that. I mean, even look at iPhone, you know, they give you they take away the headphone jack, they give you an adapter, but they don't give you the earphones that work, you know, wirelessly. So there's things like that, you know, they're all these other companies are always trying to milk money out of you. And this one, they've actually given you a lot of good value for money, and I think they have to be commended for that. And if you're looking for a bargain, this is a great option. There's a lot of other good phones out there. I'd love to check them out in the future and do some more reviews, and like comprehensive reviews and tests for you. But I think really when there's things like this out there, you really should second guess whether you want to spend a huge amount of money on a monthly contract, or a huge amount of money paying £500, £600, £700 or dollars, you know, for a top end phone, when you can get a phone that's pretty much got the exact same things, and you know, it's a third or half the cost, that kind of thing. I'm really impressed with this. Time will tell whether it lives up to its initial positive impressions. You know, again, think important things, excuse me, like battery life, network connections, you know, call quality and things like that. And call quality does actually seem quite good, but I think battery life and networks and all these kind of things, I think battery life is the key as far as long-term tests. But my initial impressions, this is a quality phone. It's really hard to complain at this price, it really is. And for this kind of price, if you're spending £600, £700 or dollars, I keep saying pounds or dollars, but the exchange rate is pretty much the same just now, so there's no point in me converting. If you're spending that amount of much on a phone every 2 years, then there is a good argument that why don't just buy something like this every single year and just sell the other one. You're going to half the money that you spend on phones. And you know, really, as much as I love technology, as much as I love getting a new fancy shiny device, you know, I also like saving money. You know, call me tight, perhaps it's a Scottish stereotype, but I do think there comes a point where it's silly to spend that kind of money when you can get alternatives that are pretty much like this for a third of the cost. Sign me up, that's all I can say. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, this is just a first impressions video. It isn't a comprehensive review. I know I've probably missed out a lot of important things that some of you guys wanted to know, but it really is just a quick test of this. I only prayed about this for a few hours today, but my girlfriend loves this. She thinks it's the best phone she's had in years. She was really happy with it, and you know, I'm happy with what she's got. 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of storage, 8 cores, you know, a pretty decent camera for the price. There's a lot to love about this. I love, you know, the storage options is great. 64 gigabytes and a microSD card and an OTG cable. You know, when Apple iPhones are charging £900 and that kind of thing for a similar amount of storage, you need to put that into perspective and realise you can get this for nearly 20% the cost. So I think this makes sense. I think it's a great option. So what I'll do is I'll leave some links below for you guys to check out. Please do read more about it. And please do leave a comment and let me know what you think about this phone. If you've got the phone, please do share your thoughts about it, positive or negative. I'm not claiming this to be the best phone in the world. I haven't used it that long, but I have tested it as far as, you know, using it today. It does seem like a great phone, great build quality, and I would, at this point, I would recommend it. But I do think with these kind of things, you really do need to take things with a pinch of salt, because these things, you know, with a phone, you need to test it over the long haul. Initial impressions, it's a great little phone. So, hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment below. And as always, thanks for watching. Till next time, guys. Take care.